Thank you for watching Daddy's podcast. We love you. Yeah, very good. And good morning, afternoon, and good night, folks around the world. What a beautiful day to start a podcast. My name is Matt, and this is LeaderShyp Life. The reason I chose this name is because right now I think that everybody in the world right now is struggling through the pandemic, through struggling financially, through struggling with home problems, depression, anxiety, addiction, whatever it may be. People need a leader. And maybe I'm not the best person for it, but I do know for the last couple of years I've been a leader for myself, for my family, for my baby boy, and I think that I could help somebody out there. My goal for this channel, for this podcast specifically, is to help people around the world. And I know that there's a lot of people that have problems with anxiety, problems with depression, problems with, mental illness, problems with addiction. I could go on and on and on and on and on. I could go on and on and on about the list of different mental illnesses out there and why people need a leader. But first and foremost, let's get into who I am and what my story is and how I became a podcaster and how I became a person of content creation. So, my name is Matt. As you know, I am 29 years old. I was born into a family that unfortunately was unable to take care of me. At 18 months old, I was given up and placed into the care of the state Child Protective Services. And from there, I spent most of my life bouncing around from family, home to home, 9 to be exact. I could just never find my place. It took me until 10, where I was residing in a home for boys, a residential community that don't have families. In other words, an orphanage, or in today's terms, a group home. And I was placed there at 8 years old up until 10, where I would be adopted at 10 into my family. My parents have been very supportive since I came into this family. They've been very loving, caring, kind to me, and I see them as my mom and dad. They will always be my mom and dad, and I don't look at my biological family as mother, father, brother, sister type thing anymore, except for my sister, who is currently in my life, and she's fought to be in my life as I've fought to be in her life since I was 16 coming up. And the reason for that is because there was a time long ago where I was so angry at the world, so frustrated with the world, and so frustrated with my pain and struggling that I had some problems, and I ended up leaving home for a few days and got completely blitzed over the situation. And I had just found out that what I was told my whole life, that my biological father had done, was unfortunately not the actual truth. And the reason why I was placed into adoption was a lot more severe than the reason I was told. And it led me into questioning a whole bunch of things. I won't get into it now. Maybe I'll do a mini series on, my life and what I went through down the road so you guys can better understand. Man, this thing cannot seem to stay straight. So you guys can get to know me as a person a little bit better. Anyways, like I was saying, so I don't talk to the rest of my biological family, but I do keep in contact with my sister. She's unfortunately going through some problems right now, health issues, and it's not going the way that we want it to go. Things just keep progressively getting worse for her. So my best prayers for her are out there. I hope things get better for you. I really do. It's not easy going through these struggles, and it's not easy having to deal with pain after pain after pain, being somebody that lived their whole life just getting tossed around and thrown into the bushfire. I know what it's like. So there's that. Anyways, when I was 10 years old, I was finally adopted into my family, and we had lived in a town where I had made friends. See, most of my life, I would make friends, and then I would end up having to move to a new family and have to start all over. Ultimately, I grew a guard that took control over who I was as a person, and it just made it very hard for me to hold friendships, especially when they were long distance. So when I had came into my family and I was in the old town that I was in, it was difficult for me to find friendship there, but I did have 4 really good friends back then. A couple years went by. I had some trouble in school and whatnot, this and that, blah blah blah, and my dad ended up getting a different job offer several hours away, and we decided to move. And when we moved, it just brought back a lot of memories on my childhood of constantly having to move around. I didn't really have much say in it. I was young, and it was more, my parents' decision. Obviously, they were the breadwinners, they were the supporters, of course. They were my guardians, they were my parents. They're going to make that choice, whether I like it or not. And at first I thought it would be great because it would be a new start for me. Things weren't going so well in the town that I was in, but then the more I got older, I questioned whether that, and I believe my family did too, whether that move was actually positive for all of us, or whether things would have been a lot different and better without that move. So to shorten my long blabbery story, if you guys notice, I will babble on and on and on one topic and just go on for hours about it. So I apologize if you catch me doing that. It's something I'm going to work on to get to the point right away. And so when we moved, I had to start all over again, had to build all new friendships again, had to go to a whole new school again, which is something, yes, I was used to, but at the same time, it just messed with me. And it wasn't as good there as it was where I was, and I didn't have many friends where I had moved to, and I ended up getting in a bad crowd of kids. It just made me worse mentally, and I ended up getting into a fight in school one day, and I remember the school basically said, "I've had enough, we're done, we don't want him here anymore," and expelled me. And I had bounced around from like 2 different schools before I finally found another school where I would end up having my first child and my daughter. And in high school at 17 years old, I got a girl pregnant. Don't follow my mistakes, kids. Don't get a girl pregnant when you're young. Save it for marriage. I'm telling you, believe me, it's worth it. Anyways, so I had ended up having a girlfriend that I was dating, and we had obviously gotten physical, and I was stupid. I didn't take the necessary measures to prevent a teenage pregnancy, and boom, I ended up having my first kid, and that relationship was a disaster. We just did not get along afterwards. We always fought. I'm now still to this day, 11 years later, fighting for my rights to be a dad. I won't get into too much detail with that because I don't feel like this is ethical for this podcast, but my point I'm trying to make is that at her house one day, we were hanging out when we were dating, and I had gotten into a 4-wheeling accident. For some weird reason, I don't remember the whole entire thing, but apparently the story goes I was sitting on the couch with her watching a movie, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the emergency room with a doctor over my head putting a mask on my face, and then I knocked back out. What had happened was, apparently I decided to get up, go outside, say, "Hey, let me ride your 4-wheeler." Get on the 4-wheeler. I don't know if I had a helmet on or not. and then decided to take a jump off of a cliff when I'm not a professional motocross person. This is not the career that I have. So I end up jumping off of this cliff, right? And I ended up smashing the four-wheeler, flipping, and crashing the four-wheeler into the ground. And I guess either I flipped off it or something happened, and I broke my arm and snapped it right out, right here, snapped. And one bone came out this way, the other bone came out that way. My arm was hanging by a thread, and I yelled, "Help! I think I need help. I think something is wrong." And I passed out. Boom, done. And so they, I guess, rushed me to the hospital, and I went under surgery immediately. And that's when I had woken up. It was right before surgery, and then they were gassing me out to go into surgery. So I wake up and I still have no idea what's going on, but I'm freaking out, saying, you know, am I gonna die? Doctors are telling me no, I'm not gonna die, but they don't tell me what's going on. And it resulted in me getting 2 plates and 10 screws put into my arm to restabilize it, replace the bones, and fix it completely. Well, from there, the doctors decided to put me on heavy pain medication. And if anybody's not familiar, the pain medication that's out there, narcotics, substances, are very, very, very addictive. I know people are judgmental around this type of thing, and there's a stigma around it as well, but you have to understand it's a substance that when you take it for so long, where the doctor kept me on it for 4 to 6 months and then rapidly took me off, your body goes through a process where it's gotten used to taking that substance to feel good, or in my case, help the pain. Your body gets used to it. There becomes a tolerance to the medication that you're taking. In the real world, what should have been done to avoid an addiction afterwards is slowly but surely take the person off the medication, little by little, over time. And definitely took preventative measures to make sure that, you know, there weren't any issues in the family history for, you know, addiction and whatnot. But in my case, I didn't really know my family history. Now I do, and now I know that my family, my biological family, it runs in my family, of addictive personalities and addiction in general. But then I didn't really know. I knew one person in my biological family had a addiction problem, but I didn't know that it would affect me. And to get to the point, I ended up addicted to the substances, and I went down a almost 10 year long, hard spiral and crash right into the ground. Basically, my life was a kamikaze airplane, and it resulted in me being very addicted to substances, and I worked my way up to the hardest possible thing you can think of. Years went by, I didn't focus on anything, didn't get schoolwork done, didn't really focus on jobs, didn't really care about anybody in my life who I was hurting. All I cared about was obtaining the next thing to make me feel better. And it really messed with my head. Ultimately, it ended up getting so bad to a point where I was basically laying in my own filth, and I had 2 choices. One, I could stay like this, lay in my own filth, and continue to use and abuse substances and die this way, either by overdose or infection, or just it killing me. Or 2, I could take control of my life where I've never really been able to before, and finally rip it the hell out of my life. Well, I chose the latter, option 2. And the reason for that is because I was so sick and tired of the repetitive cycle of every day trying to find means of getting things, and trying to formulate a plan on how to get money to get things, and then trying to find a plan to go and get it and not get caught and not get, you know, arrested, basically. And it got exhausting. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that is a common saying in recovery, is that, we get tired of being sick and tired. And I had found a counselor, and when I was 8 years old, I had a really good counselor. I got really close to her. It was an old woman. She taught me a lot. She listened to a lot, and I was very close. And she had passed away, unfortunately, a couple years after I had met her. And I think it was a couple years after I got adopted, but I since then never trusted any counselors. Most of the counselors I had through, my addiction were very unhelpful, tried to just use scare tactics, etc. And I found this woman that just seemed to understand where I was coming from and seemed to always have the right answers for any questions that I had. And I just opened up completely. Shortly after I started my recovery, I had my son. And shortly after I had my recovery, I then got granted the blessing of having my son. And honestly, now I look back and I really wouldn't change anything, because now I know what to look out for. Now I know the signals of a person that is on something. Now I know how to take care of these problems myself. And so that's why I want to dedicate this podcast to helping people. There's many reasons I started this. I want the comedy part of it. I want the, being able to talk about other things other than just addiction all the time. I want it to be a general, life discussion podcast. I want to talk about anything. But the primary reason I started this was to try to help someone else that's sitting in the corner right now, doesn't know what to do with their life, but just like me, was sitting on YouTube trying to find the answer. And yeah, it was stupid of me to look at YouTube as a source of getting my life answers, but at the same time, it did help me a little bit, in the sense that influencers made me feel better back when, YouTube was OG. And OG meaning original, like brand new. And so this is where my story goes off. So I had my son. I started working on creating my own business. I got really into graphic design. I started teaching myself how to do these things, taught myself how to edit, taught myself how to do video effects, taught myself how to do sound engineering, which I'm currently working on. I'm writing an album that hopefully will be released next year. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of this is to, keep myself busy so I don't think about those things. But I can honestly say this is I've never had a want to go back to that, and never will I. I have a beautiful boy. I have a good, I have a beautiful family. I have no reason to want to go back to that lifestyle. And so the only logical thing now is to help the other people out there that are struggling, that didn't get it as fortunate as I did. And the luckiness that I had to actually take the step to get out while I could. So that's a little bit about me. That's who I am. That's what my history was. Since then, I've come a long way. I'm developing my own business, and I am working towards something big, hopefully on YouTube, and something to share with people, to feel an emotional connection with you guys. That I may be a content creator, maybe you don't know me in person, but I absolutely know what you're going through. When I was growing up, through the 9 foster homes that I went through, I suffered a lot of sexual, mental, and physical abuse through those homes. I used to be terrified to talk about it. Now I'm not. There's no reason to be afraid of talking about what happened to you in your past, something that I could not control as a kid. And it's okay. It's okay if those type of things happen to you. We can move on from those things. We can talk about those things. And that's why I'd like to leave my link down in the description, and also I'll pin a comment as well, and I'll leave a link right down here on the video for my Twitter, because on my Twitter I'll leave my DMs open. If anybody out there needs help, or you need somebody to talk to, or even if you're feeling at the point where you just can't handle anything anymore, I will also leave the number to the crisis intervention, suicide hotline and whatnot, to make sure that there's at least some sort of awareness spread that these things can cause you to go that direction. I've been there myself. There was a time where I didn't want to wake up every single day. And I know what it's like. So if anybody ever is struggling with any of these topics that I'm talking about, depression, anxiety, fear, addiction, and suicidal thoughts, whatever, please don't hesitate to reach out either to me by direct message on Twitter, or you can reach out to the number down below the video and down below on the screen. Now let's go to some more things. There is a lot going on right now. Right now, Florida is at an all-time high for COVID cases on the Delta variant, and this is not good. It doesn't look like the world's gonna recover anytime soon. Just when we thought everything was fine, here we go again, dealing with another variant of this stupid virus ramping up and taking control of people's lives and killing our kind off. It really sucks that people are going through this. It really sucks that people are struggling, that they have to close their doors to their businesses, that they have to say goodbye to their jobs because they're terrified to go to work because they're afraid they're going to get sick. There have been some reported cases on people that are vaccinated getting sick as well. So just for precaution's sake, me and my fiance have decided that we are going to do our own little lockdown for now. We're in the midst of trying to get vaccinated right now, so hopefully we can take care of that before we get hit with this thing. It's a real shame that the world's gone to complete shit. It's like half the amount of people that there was in the Spanish flu. It's really sad. There was something like 400 million people either infected or I gotta look into it, but I'm pretty sure affected in the Spanish flu. There's 190. I'll put a thing right up here. A screenshot I took earlier. Right now, it's currently 199 million cases of COVID, and over 4 million of those 199 million cases have died. So let's take a moment of silence for all the people that have died during the COVID 2019 and 2020 pandemic. And that is our moment of silence for the people that have passed away during the 2019 and 2020 COVID pandemic. Hopefully, I know there's a lot of people that are hospitalized right now in 2021. Hopefully we don't see the song going to 2022, but it's really sad. There's no jokes about it. I can't even make a joke about it. As much as I try to be a comedian, it's not fun to be dealing with this. To have the families that are struggling to put food on their table and have their kids eat, it's a disaster out there, and I just wish I could do something to help everybody. So there's another reason why I started this podcast. If you're struggling through COVID, feel free to chime in, hang out with us, have a good time, listen to the podcast, and listen to things that I have to say. May not be the best advice and the best things, but I feel like I can be a helpful person at times. Through high school, I was always known for being people's oracle, I guess, people's advisor on what to do with relationships and things like that. And I could never figure my own life out, but I always gave really good advice to people, but I never took my own advice. I mean, who does that? Totally not me. Anyways, on another note, my son is now walking. I cannot believe it. He's a little over a year old now, and just the other day we caught him take his first 5 steps by himself with no help whatsoever. It's just an awesome feeling, and I am so proud and such a happy dad to be able to sit there, and me and my fiance, we sit like 10-15 feet away from each other, and he just walks back and forth between us. What an amazing thing it is to watch a kid grow up through my childhood, and you can never know until you have a child what it's like. Let me tell you something. I thought my life was going by so slow and so painfully agitating, and everything was going wrong, and I still have my moments here and there where I'm like, everything sucks, blah 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 blah, but the one thing that always keeps me pushing through is watching this boy. Every day there's something new now. Maybe not when they're first a few months old, but as they gradually develop into toddlers, it's just amazing to watch a little human being that I didn't push out. My fiance pushed him out, and let me tell you, she finished this labor in 15 minutes. We got to the hospital, they brought her up, she had the baby, and 15 minutes later he came out. And then they weighed him and whatnot. He was 6 pounds 8 ounces, 1.8 ounces, and perfectly healthy baby boy. She had no complications, no epidural, no nothing. It was all natural. For somebody to go through 15 minutes of labor is super lucky. That's like hitting the jackpot, man. And I was always scared watching him, you know, grow up and whatnot. And the first year of SIDS and stuff like that, there was always this haunting fear every single day we both had of, jeez, we're gonna wake up one day and he may not be alive. That's a terrible feeling to have. Thank God we're over the threshold for that. It's just an awesome experience. So get yourself out there, get yourself a girl if you don't have one, and have some babies, people. We need to repopulate this world. No, don't do that. If you're a kid, don't do that. Don't go out there and have a baby until you're married and you find the woman that you love or man that you love, and they treat you right and respectfully, and you're head over heels in love with them, and they have compassion, and there's honor in the relationship and honesty, and you guys can communicate. Communication's the key, guys. You gotta be able to talk to your significant other. If you don't talk to your significant other, they're not gonna know what you want, and you're not gonna know what they want. It's also something that me and my fiance struggle with, communication sometimes, but I always try to, at the end of a day, if there's an argument, sit down with her and she sits down with me and we talk, you know, calmly. Why did these things happen? I'm no relationship guru whatsoever, but I do know that from experience of being 29-year-old male, you got to talk to your significant other. If there is something that's not going right and there's something that you don't have in your relationship that you need, they're not going to know. They're not mind readers. Women out there are not mind readers. Men out there are not mind readers. Girls, guys, talk to your person. Let them know what's going on with you. Let them know what you need from them. That's all you got to do. You want to make a relationship work? Talk. If they don't talk to you, there's no relationship. And I want to take a minute to just sit right here and introduce you guys to someone special to me. They have wandered in here in my studio, so I figured I'd take the opportunity to introduce you guys to someone special to me. He was born a year ago, he's full of life, and he has an awesome personality. Please welcome Mr. Interrupter himself, my son. Say hi. Say hi. Very good. Say hello, world. Thank you for watching Daddy's podcast. We love you. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah. Mr. Jumpy, would you like to say anything? You say something? Go ahead, say something. Don't touch the mic. Say something. Say something. Go ahead. No, you don't eat the mic. Say something. Ah, wow, 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 wow. Hi. Say I love you.
Hi.
Say I love you. Oh, you broke it. You broke it. You broke it. Ooh. Oh, and that's my boy for you. He's full of life. He took the life out of me and brought it into himself. 'Cause I'm exhausted all the time now. I can't seem to figure out how to fix this. That's wonderful. Good job, Aiden. Gotta love babies, man. They just break everything. Everything they touch in their path. Everything they come across in their path. It's just destroy, throw, break, smash. Yep, there we go. Yeah, keep doing that. Good job. They love to touch whatever they want. He's always getting into crazy things. Me and my fiance were ordering pizza not too long ago, and we look down and he's got a makeup container in his hand, and it's all over his arms, his cheeks. Thank God he didn't eat the concealer. I think it was cover up or something. But he had it all over his face and whatnot. It was so funny. But anyways, we're gonna get back to the show now, and I'm gonna go find out where his mother is, because she just dropped him off in here. And we're gonna see where she is, and we'll be right back after these. Right? We'll be right back after the. Say. Say. Aiden, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. 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 Alright, and we're back. Finally found her, and I was able to toss him off to her so I can finish this podcast. And this thing bounced to the side. Nice. Okay, moving on. See, one thing I will never understand, but I always find it funny, and me and my fiance chuckle all the time at it, is he gets into everything. Literally everything. And it's always like, it's not like little things where you're like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's always the worst stuff. Like, they try to fall down the stairs, they try to jump off big ledges, they try to grab knives, they try to grab anything in their path. They'll eat whatever. They stick their hands in the dirtiest things, and I never understood before having a child why kids do it, and I still don't understand it. But it didn't really reflect on me until he started moving around and became mobile, and he would start grabbing things, and every 5 seconds it was like, why would you try to do this? You're gonna hurt yourself. I know they don't have the mental capacity to understand it, but still, it's just funny because you would think natural instinct would take over and they wouldn't do something to hurt themselves, but yet they do anyways. It's like they're fearless, completely fearless. But so that's my son for you. I hope you guys got a good introduction to him. He'll be in a lot of different things going forward. And now we're gonna go back to our show and talk about the rest of the things that we were talking about. So anyways, like, it's gotten to the point where we have to baby proof everything, and if you've ever baby proofed things, sometimes it gets to a point where it's adult proofing things. I mean, like, for instance, the child locks they have on medical medicine, like prescription bottles, they're a pain, or sometimes a pain to open. Closets where they have those little things that you screw in and then it clicks in so they can't open it, sometimes those are a pain. I'll sit there and fight with the closet, open, and it never opens, and then I have to call either my fiance or someone to help me, or I just end up breaking it. I have a bad tendency of, if something doesn't work, I'm gonna break it. Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to interrupt this podcast and let you guys know that I don't have any sponsors, obviously, yet. But I do have some suggestions. I'm going to make an ad, and I'm also going to put a link in the description for the things that I'm about to tell you guys about. I got into film about a year ago, and I took a real passion to it, along with graphic design and photography and whatnot, and I was searching for a camera for a very long time, and I couldn't seem to find one that was, one, in my budget, and two, worked for me. Three, compact. So it took me a long time to look for one, and ultimately I ran across one that I absolutely love. I'm currently using it right now. This is the Canon EOS M50 Mark II. If you're gonna start out with film and you're considering starting a YouTube channel, considering starting streaming and whatnot, this has everything built in. You don't need a capture card. You can just connect this right to your PC, download the EOS webcam utility, and boom, you got yourself a webcam. There's many more things that it does. I will leave a link in the description for Canon's website so you guys can look at the specs of it. I also will leave a link down there to purchase this for yourself. It runs at around, I think, $6.99, but there is a deal on Amazon where there's a package, and I missed out on it. I bought just the camera over a year ago, and there you have the opportunity to get a ton of accessories, like 2 lenses and a few other things with it. So check that out. Then also, the second thing I want to tell you guys about is when I was looking for a mic for the camera, because the camera's mic, obviously the built-in, isn't that great. It's pretty good, actually, the one built into this, but it wasn't the best for distant communication with, you know, the camera, you guys, the viewers. I looked online, and I know there's the Rode and everything else out there that's like $100+, but I was looking through Amazon one day, and I ran across a mic. It is the Moki MCM-1 MOUKEY microphone. It comes with a dead cat, which is a wind filter. It also comes with the little foam filter, comes with the mount, it comes with the wiring. Unfortunately, you cannot hook headphones up to this to be able to monitor your voice and any voice work, but overall, it is an awesome microphone. I will show you guys a clip of the difference between the two, and you guys make that judgment call for yourself. And down below, right under the Canon, there will be a link for this microphone. About 10 feet away from the camera, with the camera's audio and the built-in mic. This is the audio from the microphone with nothing on it, on the camera, about 10 feet away. This is the microphone with the foam on it, about 10 feet away. This is the microphone with the dead cat on it, about 10 feet away. Now, let's get back to our podcast. You know something that really drives me nuts, and it really gets me going, and it's got me always thinking, and I get paranoid about it, and I have anxiety attacks on it, and I get panicky about it, is the thought of dying and there being no memory whatsoever. I know that I'm going way off topic of what I was just talking about, but it's something that was grinding my gears, and I'd like to talk about it. So, I've always had this thought in my life, and I know that religion is a big aspect in a lot of people's lives. Some people choose not to see religion, and they choose to see atheism, which is fine here. If you are an atheist, that's perfectly okay. You have your beliefs, we have all of our beliefs. Nobody's wrong and nobody's right. We don't know what's out there, and that's what drives me nuts. We as human beings are so sophisticated, yet stupid. We are conscious beings that know we exist. We're acknowledging that we exist. We know what we do. We have a conscience that tells us when we're doing wrong. Some people out there choose to do things even though their conscience tells them to not do it. Those would be the serial killers out in the world. I don't know if I can say the word on here, but the R word. Or the child diddlers out there. I don't know if I can say these things on YouTube. This is new to me, and I don't want to get shadow banned right in my first episode. But anyways, my point I'm trying to make is that my whole life I've always wondered, why do you exist if you're just not going to exist? And it took me a long time to be able to figure that answer out. I spent most of my life in the dark. I spent most of my life living off of shadows of wondering why these things are happening. Why was I born into a family that didn't want me? Then I suffered years of abuse as a child. You're not supposed to do that. I had no structure, no discipline. I had no one really to comfort me. I had no mom to comfort me, no one to give me a hug when things went bad or things were upsetting to me. And as life progressed, things just got gradually worse. I went through my addiction, had a bad span with addiction. I ended up at a point where I wanted to die because it was so bad. And it got to a point where I constantly told myself, what's the point of living? And now I think I finally have my answer. My son, kids, children are your point in living. If you can hear that toy in the background, I apologize. There's a baby toy going off right now for no reason. This happens all the time, randomly. They just talk whenever they want. It's a very weird situation. But children have to be our reasons to be here. And even if they're not technically the reason human beings are on this planet, if you want to go into scientific and whatnot, he's my reason. And he's my reason for existing, and I've given up my life, my party life, I have a dream, obviously, for this channel to take off, and I have a dream to set this business into motion, but all of that, if it does work, is going to be passed down to him. These are all so that he can grow up into this perfect little boy that I see. Now, nothing's perfect. I understand that nothing's perfect, but if I can give him the childhood that I didn't have, then to me, that's perfect. That's all I want. I don't need a giant mansion house. I don't need 1 million subscribers. I don't need all the fancy stuff. But what I do need is to be able to maybe help someone out there. Like I said earlier, maybe help the people out there that are struggling to watch my son grow up and be the man that can teach him things and teach him right from wrong and teach him that it's okay to come to your mom and dad or whoever it is and talk to them about what's going on with you. If you have something wrong with you, don't listen to your stupid friends that tell you don't go to your mom and dad. Don't listen to your stupid friends that say don't snitch. Snitches get stitches, all that stupid stuff. All they do is scare people. And that's not right. This is why kids don't talk. They just spend so much time on video games and they don't talk to their families. They don't let them know what's going on with them. You guys have become so distant from your families and so distant from the people around you that love you that you gotta wonder what the future for this world is going to be. Stop for a minute. Stop the video games. Stop listening to your friends. Stop listening to kids that are telling you you shouldn't tell on somebody or whatever it is. Go be a snitch. It's okay. Nothing is gonna happen to you. And if there's any threats, tell people that there's a threat. Deal with the problem. If someone's threatening you, or you feel out of place, or you feel like something is gonna happen to you if you say something, absolutely tell someone. Get law enforcement involved if you have to. That's serious stuff. If something happens to you as a kid, one thing I didn't do was when my abuse as a child happened to me, I didn't say anything to anybody because I was terrified that I would get hurt or hit or whatever. And I kick myself in the butt now because I wish I said something. Because if I had said something, those people would be paying the price for what they did. And you need to make people pay the price for their actions. Every action has a reaction and a consequence. And if you do something stupid, you're going to get a consequence that's for stupid. If you do something smart, you're going to get good karma and you're going to get something good down the road. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll do things good your whole life and you won't get dished a good hand. That's fine too. It happens. But look forward to your future and what things are going to be like in a few years. If you're struggling in school, ask for help because school is important. I didn't finish school. And it's very hard for me to get a job. Most places will look on your application for education and experience, and if you don't have education behind you, you're probably not going to get in. It's a weird time we're living in. Right now, actually, there's like everywhere around me is hiring, but I can't seem to get in anywhere whatsoever. It's ridiculous. So that's exactly why I've decided to take up this as a career instead of going for a natural job. And some of you may disagree with that and say that I'm stupid for it, and it's not YouTube I'm looking as a career. My graphic design, the webpage that I'm building, and the clients that I currently already have, hopefully that will build once I launch my website. But we'll see where it goes, you know. Not everything is a hit and a hit home, and that's a big lesson we need to learn in life. I don't know how long this is going to cut up to, and I'd just like to take a minute right now to apologize for all the jump cuts, if there are jump cuts. A lot of them, I get nervous, and I'm gonna work on that. Obviously, this is my very first podcast ever doing anything like this, so it is a bit nerve-wracking, and if you guys see jump cuts on it, I apologize, and those will be, you know, more raw as we span out, and hopefully we'll hit more episodes with less and less and less. With that being said, I'd like to just wrap it up here with letting you guys know that my next episode that I'm going to do is going to be a little more on the topic of who I am and what I went through, and a deeper conversation about the things that I saw and went through, and how I was able to achieve what I'm achieving now, how I was able to be a dad and build a business off of nothing, and how I was able to still keep a positive outlook through things even at my darkest. So we'll probably do a mini series on that, but I'm also going to dedicate the next podcast to my viewers. For anybody that is watching this and you subscribe, this goes out to you. I really appreciate it. It's my first time doing this, and I hope I did a good job. I know that it may be a little short. We'll make things a little longer next time, but I'd just like to give my appreciation to everybody that took the time to listen to the whole podcast and stay for the whole thing. You guys are awesome, and I am your #1 fan. Just remember that. And lastly, if you guys really enjoyed this content, please feel free to hit the like button. Let me know that you guys liked it. It will definitely help us out, push this out to other people so that we can get going on helping some people. So I really appreciate it if you hit the like button, smash it if you have to. And also, if you really enjoy the content and you guys want to keep up to date on our videos, please feel free to hit subscribe and hit the bell next to subscribe, so that when we post our content, you guys will get a notification immediately that we posted a video. You're going to want to do that because I'll be doing giveaways down the road to first commenters on videos, so you definitely want to be a part of the notification gang. With that being said, I really appreciate you guys. This has been Matt, this has been Leadership, and you guys have a great, safe, wonderful night. Hopefully we'll think of some cool, fun outro type of sentence to end our podcast. But for now, stay safe, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching this podcast. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Like I said, if you guys smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications if you guys want to stay up to date on our posts, and you guys want to be entered into the giveaways that we do for our first commenters later down the road. I just want to throw one more thing out there before we go. All the graphics that you see, all the editing that you see, all the video effects that you see, everything on this channel has been done by me through my knowledge of the Adobe suite. That's what I use, it's what I like, it's what I'm used to. If any of you need something done such as graphics, editing, video effects, etc., sound engineering and whatnot, please feel free. You can contact me down below. I will leave an email in my description box for anybody that wants to contact me for business purposes. Please do not use this email for spam. It really frustrates me that people have gotten to the point where they'll just send nasty messages to people just because. I will block you permanently. This is for serious inquiries only. If you need some work done, I'm happy to do some stuff. The first 3 people that contact me will get something done for free. I don't really know the terms yet of what I'm going to do for free and how much work I'm going to do for free, but we'll work into that, and whatever I decide to do, I'll leave down in the description. I also would like you guys to know that I have a coming soon webpage that will be down in the description as well. Once I launch the webpage really soon, you guys will be able to order from there any graphics or editing work or video effects work or anything that you guys see on the webpage that you guys may be interested in. Maybe we'll throw some merch up there. There'll be a blog. It's a really nice webpage coming through. I'm just working out the last final kinks of it, and we'll be able to launch that. I really appreciate you guys again for watching this, and like I said, if you guys want to contact me for any reason whatsoever, I'll leave my email down below for business inquiries, and I also will leave my DMs on Twitter open if you need somebody to talk to. Everybody needs someone to talk to, and maybe it's hard to talk to the people around you because they're involved in your life, but maybe it's not so hard to talk to somebody that's brand new, doesn't really know your situation, and you just need to vent to them. That is what I'll leave my DMs open for on Twitter. If it gets to a point where it gets too much, I'll open them at certain times on certain series so that people can reach out after the video uploads for a certain length of time. There's only so much that I can handle. Right now I'm doing all of my work, so please forgive me if you guys see any errors. I'm trying my best, and I really, really want this to make light of something. I want to help people. I want to be there for you guys. I want to, I don't need to make money on YouTube, but what I do need to make is something happen in the sense of sharing my story and inspiring people to take the path that I chose to take. For now, that is all. We'll be back soon with our second episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any comments whatsoever, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know how you felt about this. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions. This is my first time doing this, so I'm open to any kind of constructive criticism. And lastly, say bye-bye. Lastly, I apologize for all of the jump cuts. Like I said, again, this is my first time doing this. I really hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope that I maybe helped someone out a little bit and that I can continue helping people down the road with my story and just general fun on this channel. And for now, it's time to go. So take care, folks. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Yay. Goodbye. Clap. Yay. Stay safe, folks. Leadership out. And I had two and that are struggling through this pandemic to eat their or the people that do bad things. Whoops.
Woo!